there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of knowing as well that some of these things that are provided for us are not the facts, because really if the unseen or hidden is controlling everything, we wouldn't have all those facts available to us about these so-called injustices and things that are going on. And let's keep it real. We know that these take place. They have been taking place for, thousands of years. There's been war, there's been famine, there's been disease, there's been destruction, there's been natural disasters, floods and earthquakes and various things like that, that happen to us over the course of the life of this planet. But all of these things arise from stuff that we cannot see. And these things that are coming to the surface now, it's for a reason that it's becoming more and more prominent, more and more aware and conscious to us in our lives. Why? Because if it's always happened, if it's always taken place, if this is nothing new and there's nothing new under the sun, why do we still hold on to these emotions? Why do we still hold on to these attachments where we can become emotional about things that are going on in our society and on our planet?
Yeah, that's why I think it's important to get to how this reality is ran. What is this reality really truly about, And let's take the obvious. So this is where people that deal with metaphysics, the occult, and spirituality, where you are supposed to get beyond the obvious. That's why a lot of people, you are stuck there. You're still stuck on the obvious. So let's take the obvious and get it out. Because it's very simple, and if you don't see this, I don't know what else to tell you. Obviously, racism still exists. If you can't see that, there's a problem with it. Is it the same as it was in the 60s, 50s, and 40s? Probably not. But is it still forces that are making racism still exist? Very much so. Is it just from one culture? No. I heard a comedian say once that, melanated people are the most racist. So they hate white people and hate their own people. So racism is prominent. This is obvious. You can't see that. I don't know where you live. Is this paradigm set up to keep certain people messed up, especially melanated families? Are there programs, are there systems in place to make sure the black man is in jail, the woman's working? Once again, if you can't see this, this is obvious. This ain't metaphysics, this ain't cult, this ain't spirit, this is obvious. If you got half a brain, you can see this. Single mother parent household, dad's in jail, dad's work. If you can't see that, I don't know where you live. So this is obvious. You see the obvious, it's dumb easy. But then there are people that in place that you do not see that are making these things happen. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Now we're talking about metaphysics and the occult. So we're talking about things beyond the obvious, things beyond the physical. So we know there are people there that are doing certain things. Let's go deeper than that. Because deeper than people. We're talking about energy. We're talking about forces. You would call them ancestors. You would call them gods. You would call them demons. And you would call them elementals. And you would call them angels. We're talking about forces of energy that are making these certain people do certain things. So knowing that the spiritual reality controls everything, the people that are working beyond the curtain are aligning themselves with certain forces that you're scared to connect with, because they have spooked you from connecting with these forces. So they're doing certain things in order to gain power, and it's working, and it's obvious. Then when people who are spiritual are talking about working with the ancestors through an altar, connecting with the deities through the altar, the same people that are complaining will tell you, you don't need to do that practice. Or you don't need to burn that ancestor money because it has an Asian deity on it. The things that can save us, you're listening to people that are telling you it won't work. But guess what? They don't do it. And the people that are doing it are having phenomenal experiences in their life. I'm so busy focus on my family and my spiritual work, my students and clients, where I'm oblivious of what goes on and what you call reality. Because what you call reality is only a fraction of reality. Because you're looking on that which is physical, which has no control over reality. We need to wise up. If you're doctors and scientists, get to the root cause. The root cause cannot be seen with your physical eyes. Your spinals are calcified on purpose. You can't see light, and the light can't see you. Reconnect with that light, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is so beneath me, and I say not out of disrespect. This is Pedialyte. This is baby food. I learned this 20 million lifetimes ago. If you're an old soul, you should know this. But you're listening to people that you're older than, that you have more power than. Stop listening to children and wise up and listen to your adult self. Your adult self is not on TV. Your adult self is not on Facebook. Your adult self is within you. Until you focus on that, you'll keep listening to these freaking children. Stop letting children run the earth. You're God. Be God.